Alright, well, if you didn't see, Behaviour actually responded to like 95% of the community being like, this 9.2.0 PTB, it sucks. It really sucks. Let's read what they had to say. Before we break for the weekend, we wanted to update folks on the ongoing PTB discussions, which we have been following very closely since last week's dev update. We have heard you clearly that the current implementation of the tunneling reduction and slugging reduction systems players have been testing this week feels too punishing for killers. For the release of Sinister Grace, we will hold back on those features and their associated perk changes to iterate on some adjustments based on your feedback. We will test these features again in an upcoming PTB and will release them live when we believe they are ready. Thank you for your participation in our crucial testing process and stay tuned for future updates as they progress. Let's talk about this. So if you're happy about the fact they are walking back the tunneling reduction and slugging reduction systems, honestly, that's fair. That's valid. Just because, yeah, like I said, they are really bad. They were terrible changes. However, I want to be clear. This is not a reason for celebration. Let me explain. They are not doing these unhook protections, these hook status updates, these tunneling penalties, and all the perk changes associated with both. Ditto for the slugging reduction updates. However, with this wording, what will still go through is the Unknown is still getting all of their add-ons nerfed to make up for the fact that they can now shoot upwards. Dracula is still getting nerfed, in addition to all of his add-ons getting nerfed on top of that. Myers is still getting turned into just fucking dash slop and not, Michael Myers. And speaking of his pallet-breaking dash slop ability and nerfs, we're still getting a shit ton more pallets across a ton of different realms to just nerf killers as a whole. And that's not even taking into account the new Survivor. As I've learned after our initial stream, V has this perk called Ghost Notes, which when you're exhausted, exhaustion perks, some of the meta Survivor perks, scratch marks disappear faster, and you recover from exhausted faster. And yes, this does stack with Lightweight and Vigil. That is a blanket nerf to all killers. On top of, like I said in my last video, the fact that we are just in a bad killer meta. Don't get me wrong, the tunneling and slugging changes would have made them worse, but the fact that they're pushing this shit through, the meta is still gonna get worse, just not as much. And speaking of which, let's talk about the tweet itself, because perhaps it's because I've worked in a corporate environment and am used to Behavior's bullshit, but I think the wording in this tweet kind of gives away the grift. The current implementation of the tunneling reduction and slugging reduction system players have been testing this week feels too punishing for killers. We will hold back those features. We will test these features again in an upcoming PTB and will release them live when we believe they are ready. They think what the community dislikes are the numbers on these changes. No. We didn't dislike them because of the numbers. We disliked them because they were bad decisions, except for maybe the unique hook bonuses. The issue with the slugging changes is that survivors, they could just pick themselves up, making you just totally powerless against Sabo and flashlight squads. For the tunneling changes, what we disliked is that it essentially fucked the killer over if they tunneled, even if it was on accident. And look, sometimes what is a valid strategy, you just can't kill 3 other survivors, so you're like, oh fuck, I gotta get the weakest link. So as a result, you just tunnel them out of the game to make your life easier. Again, this is all happening because Behaviour doesn't know how the game is played in general, but especially from the killer side. Basically, this is not a victory in regards to gameplay. This is a ceasefire. They're just like, okay, we will try this again, but with different numbers. And then maybe the community will like it. In fact, I can show you. The top reply helps illuminate what this is about. I'm not sure why it's so difficult for you to directly address the core issue here. You seem to focus heavily on what lower tier, non-ANS killers have to do against competent survivor squads, rather than examining why they're forced to play that way in the first place. Gen rushing is a major problem for most killers. Then just explains how Trapper needs to set up for like 20 to 30 seconds, and then 1 to 3 generators can be finished in that time. Survivors have access to a wide range of perks that accelerate gen progress with minimal effort. In contrast, killers get strong gen control tools like blocking a regression after winning a chase and securing a hook, which can can take 20 plus seconds per survivor. That's a high investment for tools that are meant to slow down the game. There needs to be a nerf to gen rushing so that killers, especially setup dependent ones, have more breathing room to actually play the game and go for hooks. Right now, many killers are forced to use cheap or sweaty tactics just to keep up and break even. Yes, there are exceptions in the A and S tier killer pool, but you can't balance the game around only them. Balance should start with the rest of the killer roster, and those top tier killers can be adjusted afterward to fit the new balance. Yes, I don't agree with everything because I don't think it's just setup killers that get fucked by the current meta. But this person, they're on the right fucking track. Because here's the thing. Are there people in this game who tunnel and slug maliciously? Absolutely. But I feel like those tactics are used out of desperation and less maliciousness. How this game is set up, what the other side does in order to win, is frustrating for the other side. I thought about this. Let's flip the other way around. As a killer player, what I dislike is people going for saves either with flashlights, pallets, or by saboing hooks, or getting gen rushed. Those are the equivalents of slugging and tunneling. But I'm not going to complain to the devs. Don't get me wrong, I think the meta should be balanced in a way where it's not terrible for killers, but I don't think that they should remove those important parts of the game, even if I do find them annoying. So, I'm not looking forward to them going back and trying to redo these changes, but with adjusted numbers, which I called in my original video. So, because they don't play their game, they're not ashamed because they were caught doing a bad balancing patch. They're ashamed because they got caught trying to do such a bad balancing patch. Even beyond the numbers and how bad the changes were, what's really bad about this is that it made it to the PTB, the public test build. Once these fucking changes were proposed, they should have been shut down as quick as possible. Anyone who plays this game should have seen these proposed changes being like, God, that is a terrible idea. We will hemorrhage players like crazy. No, we are not implementing these. But they did anyway. They made it to testing. That shows that these people have no fucking idea what they're doing. And that leads to the next thing. Even if we were in a situation where they proposed some anti-slugging and anti-tunneling changes, and they were perfect, they were great, they were awesome, that does not change all the shit that Behaviour has done the past month or so. Them walking back these changes, it doesn't undo the fact they released the absolutely terrible Walking Dead chapter with all the bugs, not to mention the Streetwise bug that they frankly just responded to terribly, absolutely awfully. Doesn't change the fact that they publicly disrespected Chandler Riggs and Darva on stream. It doesn't change the fact that they were just like, we have to do a health update when they were in the middle of a fucking health update. It doesn't change the fact that they have said nothing about Spook and Jukes getting threatened by players of their own game. The big problem is Behaviour is just a bad company who makes bad decisions. This is why I was so fucking pissed about them being like, oh, hey, we're doing a health update. It's like, motherfucker, I will believe you improve when I see it, because you are not showing me improvement. It feels like I'm in a bad relationship where someone's just like, oh, hey, I'll do better. And their better, big quotes, is just like the bare minimum. If that, sometimes them doing better is just them not being the worst. It makes me feel like I'm going insane. So yeah, I'm not crazy about the fact that they're only walking back some of these changes. It's just so ironic because at its core, I do like this game. It's full of characters I love. Its gameplay loop can be really fun, but I just wish Behaviour actually gave enough of a rat's ass about the game and the players like me and so many other creators do. Because they don't. They clearly don't. At most, I can give them that they maybe care a lot about giving their employees the weekend off and making money, but that's it. I'm so tired with this game. Maybe I'll play the Sinister Grace chapter if I can collab with a close friend on it like we have planned to do, but I don't know. I really don't. But hey, you know what? I would love to hear from you because, again, I think them walking it back is something to be happy about, but not celebrated given what they're threatening. Still, fuck Behaviour. Here's to staying optimistic.